Friday, September 5th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. I start off with this morning with a couple of live cameras across the region. It's dark out there. I'm cutting this video about 5:15 this morning. On the left, the Avalon Pier web camera in Kill Devil Hills in the Outer Banks. On the right, that's the Beach Mountain Parkway cam from resortcams.com. The temperature 78 there along the Outer Banks, and the Beach Mountain observation missing this morning, but mainly 60s for the temperatures up in the mountains early on this Friday morning. Had highs in the mid-80s in Charlotte and Greensboro, up to 90 in Raleigh, mid-90s in Columbia. Many of our highs around the region, especially across the Piedmont of North Carolina, a little bit lower than what we've seen the previous couple of days. Now it's very muggy and extremely humid this morning. Temperatures, once you get outside of the mountains, mainly low to mid-70s, some upper 70s along the Outer Banks. Your dew point temperatures still way up there. So it is humid, and there are some patchy areas of fog in some spots this morning, too. Had a pretty good coverage of showers and thunderstorms yesterday. Still a very soupy air mass remains in place. And here comes our next cold front. That's the one that's going to bring some big weather changes for us as we get deeper into the upcoming weekend. But as mentioned, there was a pretty good amount of scattered showers and thunderstorms yesterday, especially the further north you went in the region. This was the radar through the afternoon and into the evening hours yesterday. And again, once you got, say, north of a line from Charlotte to Raleigh, the coverage of rain and thunderstorms were pretty significant yesterday. There's your rain totals over the previous 24 hours. And there are some spots that picked up over 2 and 3 inches of rain, such as there in Stanley County, Montgomery County, and then a few areas up closer to the Virginia border and around the Raleigh-Durham areas. Had one storm report yesterday, and that was a report of a tree down there in Randolph County about 9:30 or so yesterday evening there in the eastern parts of Randolph County. Now, as I'm cutting this video, the radar is very quiet, and all around the region, just a very soupy tropical air mass in place. Now, what's interesting is this developing area of low pressure down here off the Florida coast. More on that here in just a second. Today, very humid. Temperatures up into the upper 80s to some low 90s for highs, and I think some showers and storms out there this afternoon, but fewer in number than what we've seen the previous days. There's a look at the high resolution modeling, and you can notice there are some areas that have a good coverage of rain and storms, but overall more of an isolated coverage today. Your biggest threats from flash flooding and lightning, but still a limited threat of a damaging wind gust or two and some hail. Now tomorrow, the coverage of storms should ramp up again as this cold front approaches from the north. Our highs tomorrow between 89 and 91 in a lot of the Piedmont. And then there's that low pressure I mentioned. The RPM modeling is wanting to focus most of the rain Sunday along and with that low pressure. Now most other models, including the NAM here, want to throw some of that rain all the way back through the Piedmont zones, and they give us kind of a wet and cooler setup for Sunday and even on into Monday in some instances. We'll see how that plays out. It definitely is going to be cooler starting Sunday. There's your Sunday highs, and then it really gets much cooler on Monday with places like Charlotte and Greensboro in the upper 70s for highs. Now, how wet those 2 days are remains to be seen. The European, the GFS, and the NAM all relatively wet with at least some rain at times Sunday and Monday, and we'll just have to kind of see how that plays out. Very quickly here in the tropics, no classified systems. It's very quiet in the Gulf. We're also watching a pretty good flare-up of thunderstorms there in the western Caribbean Sea, but proximity to land will probably preclude development there. And still monitoring that tropical wave all the way over on the eastern side of the Atlantic Ocean. Most models do slowly develop that system as it moves to the west-northwest across the Atlantic, and this probably winds up northeast of the Caribbean islands as you get toward Friday or so of next week, Thursday or Friday. From there, who knows, but it's gaining latitude, so the odds of a recurve get higher and higher the further north it gets. All right, that is it for today's edition of the video. Have a great weekend, and God bless.